All right, everybody, let's do this. Today, we're going to be discussing the proverbial elephant in the room. We're going to be talking about Photoshop's controversial sky replacement tool. Let's go. Okay, but before we get into it, I got a little pop quiz for you. I'm going to put 4 photos up on the screen, and you have 5 seconds to determine if it's the original photo or if the sky has been replaced with Photoshop's sky replacement tool. Okay, you ready? All right, let's go. All right, so how do you think he did? All right, here's the answers. Photo number 1, not sky replacement. Photo number 2, not sky replacement. Photo number 3, sky replacement. And photo number 4, not sky replacement. Hey everybody, my name is Paul Cook. I'm a landscape photographer from Boca Raton, Florida. Now, if you were tuning into my channel today in hopes of seeing a sky replacement tutorial video, unfortunately that's not what this is about. What I want to do today is talk about, as a landscape photographer, the whys and the whens and the if-evers you would consider using Photoshop's sky replacement tool on your photos. So just as examples, I'm going to be using a couple photos that I took on a recent landscape photography trip. Now, for those of you who watched my video last week, I actually added these into the very end of my video, and I labeled the ones that were sky replacement photos. Wow, did it generate a couple of really choice comments and maybe an unfollow or two. But yeah, that's what I want to do today. I want to talk about it. I want to have a bit of a discussion around, as a landscape photographer, is this something that you would ever use, maybe in certain circumstances, if you would never use it, if you don't think it's an ethical thing to do. So definitely, I want to hear your comments, your opinions, your rants, your raves. Just go ahead and put those in the comment section below. Don't worry about hurting my feelings. I have pretty thick skin. You really can't break me. So like I just said, I'm just recently back from a 9-day landscape photography trip to the beautiful US state of Maine. For those of you who follow me on Instagram know that my photography kind of leans towards the dark and the moody side of photography. And you know, the first few days that we were up there were just absolutely perfect. We had rain, we had snow, we had wind, we had dark stormy clouds, you know, all the good stuff. You know, it was just absolutely perfect for me from a photography standpoint. But then the weather just absolutely cleared and just... I mean, when I say cleared, I mean cleared, like not one cloud in the sky for about 4 straight days. And for me, that is no good. I look back at those pictures now, and it looks like a snapshot to me. Okay, so when is it appropriate to use the sky replacement tool? It's actually easier for me to answer, at least in my case, when it's not appropriate. So at the beginning of the video, I showed you some photos from my local pier. Those were taken on 3 consecutive days. So on day 1, I got there and I had a little bit of cloud out on the horizon, but mainly had a plain, boring blue sky. So I went back the very next day and I had a really good mix of kind of moody clouds with a little bit of sun shining through. And so I went back on day 3 and had really dark, stormy, moody skies, which is exactly what I was looking for. So really, it doesn't make any sense for me anyway to ever use the sky replacement tool on a local photo when I can just take a drive down to the beach 5 miles or 10 miles down to my local lighthouse day after day until I get the sky or the clouds that I'm looking for. So you're never ever going to see a local photo from me that uses the sky replacement tool. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that brings up another really interesting question. What defines local? Honestly, I haven't figured that out. Is it 5 miles down to my local pier? Is it 10 miles down to my lighthouse? Is it 40 miles down to Miami? Or is it 100 miles out in any direction from here at my home base? Like I said, I haven't figured that part out yet, but I know right here in my immediate vicinity, you'll never see a local photo from me taken that uses sky replacement. Again, I haven't determined where the cutoff point is where I would. I guess it really depends on my availability, my schedule, how quickly I can get back to that location. But yeah, right here in my local area, you would never ever see me use something like sky replacement when I can just go back there day after day after day until I get what I'm looking for. But as a traveling landscape photographer who often travels, you know, thousands of miles to photograph a particular location, you know, I may only get one shot at that location. And it's not even like I'd have the whole day there sometimes. I might have a couple hours at sunrise, a couple hours at sunset, or even worse, I might get there at midday, at noon, and have to deal with whatever weather conditions are thrown at me on that particular day. So for me, right there, that's possibly when I would consider using Photoshop sky replacement tool. When I get to a location far away, when the weather doesn't cooperate, when I only have one shot at it, and that's it. Locally, no, never. But again, if I've traveled thousands of miles to photograph a location and I didn't get quite what I was looking for, then that might fall into the category of I might possibly use sky replacement. But having said all that, even then, using the sky replacement tool is about the last thing that I'd really want to do. You know, if I could eliminate a different location that I wasn't really keen on and schedule a second day at that good location and plan it around maybe when the weather conditions are going to be a little bit better, that would be the optimal thing for me to do. Sky replacement to me seems like really a last resort thing, but again, it would not be my very first choice of things to do, no. All right, so another reason that I might possibly use sky replacement on my photos is for my own enjoyment. As a landscape photographer, I take thousands of photos every year, but you on the outside might only see less than 1% of those, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I generally only put out what I feel is my best work. But yes, every once in a while, I like to just scroll through my photos and I'm looking for different things, either just reminiscing of a great trip or looking for a photo that I might have not liked when I first saw it, but maybe I feel like I can do something with it now. Try a new editing technique, such as sky replacement. But yeah, mainly just for my own enjoyment. You know, a few years from now when I'm sitting in a chair, caretaker's taking care of me, feeding me, wiping my chin, maybe scrolling through some photos to occupy an old man, I'm certainly going to like this photo way better than this photo. So really, sky replacement, I could use it just for my own enjoyment to make a picture more pleasing to myself that I don't necessarily display to the world. Okay, so another reason why I might possibly use the sky replacement tool is if I'm trying to sell some photos to a local tourism board or state tourism board, a chamber of commerce, or somebody who, like say, for instance, rented me their house who would like to update their site with better photos. For example, the lady that rented me her beautiful house up in Maine asked that if I had any good photos of them, if I would show them to her, and if she liked them, she would buy them from me. So I'm currently in talks with her. I didn't get many good shots. I got one shot with a kind of unremarkable blue sky, and then I used sky replacement to make it a little bit more dramatic for her, as well as I gave her some drone video. But I've been very transparent with her. I told her exactly what I did. She has all the information that she needs to make the determination whether she wants to use that sky replacement photo or the unaltered one or not. So in a case like this, trying to sell your photos to a tourism board, chamber of commerce, a website kind of thing, some of the best photography advice I've ever heard was given about 2 weeks ago by a friend and brilliant photographer. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, a photographer needs the skill to be able to get people to part with their cash in exchange for photographs. Period. Again, I've given the client all the necessary information that they need to know to determine whether they want to purchase those photographs or not. End of. Now, I want to be really clear about one thing. I sell a lot of landscape photography prints for my website. Those would never, ever use sky replacement. I want those to be the best, the most genuine, the highest quality photographs that I am the most proud of. So sky replacement would never be used on something like that. Like I said, it would be more for tourism boards and chamber of commerces and for people to use on their social media, maybe to sell a place that they're renting or something like that. All right, guys, we're coming down to the end of it here. Last couple bits of information that I want to get out there. All the photos that you saw today that had sky replacement, those skies were my photos. I took, pointed my camera at the sky, took a photo, loaded it into sky replacement, and used those. I definitely didn't and never would use a sky from somebody else's photo, and I'm not going to use the preloaded Photoshop skies that they've put in there for you to use. Just saying. And this last thing is really a personal choice, I guess, if you were to ever use sky replacement. And if I were to ever use sky replacement, I would call it out. That's just a personal choice. I'm not sure if it's necessary or not. Definitely would love to hear what you think on that. But I would put it, either up on the screen, I'd tell you on the camera, or if I'm putting it on Facebook or Instagram, I would definitely put it in the caption or the comment section, just as a matter of transparency. But I'd love to hear what you think about that if you were to ever use sky replacement on one of your photos. All right, guys, that's it. You know, I knew when I was coming up with the idea for this video that it was going to be kind of a tough topic to talk about. But as I started talking about it to the camera more and more, I started questioning myself. So I think I've left myself with just as many questions as I do have answers. But I want to leave you with this one last thought, or actually question really, especially for those that are really dead set against this, or even those that might be on the fence about this a little bit. Why is it so wrong to add something to a photo that was never really there, but it's not wrong to remove something from a photo that was actually there? But I would definitely love to hear all your thoughts, your opinions, your comments, your rants, your raves. Again, don't be scared. Let me have it. Let me hear what you have to say. I hope everybody's doing good out there, keeping safe, and we'll see you again next Monday. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again. Bye.